This is the Big Buccaneer channel. My name is Ken Treadway, and we're speaking with Rodney McGough, who was sort of the mayor, if you will, of that much publicized campsite.
Fallville.
Fallville?
That was what it was on Channel 8 News. They even came to me hearing about this Fallville.
Okay, well, this was...
That was the name of the camping.
All right. It was 4 years ago, and it was right there on Oceanside Boulevard, sort of in front of Smart and Final there, and near I-5. And Rodney, you had, there were like 80 people there, right?
What I counted and estimated was in the 8th mile of tents, there was about 50 tents.
Yeah.
That was including the tents and the small pop-ups that were used as like little storage units.
Okay.
So some of that was for storing some people's stuff, but there was about 50 of those, and then the people staying in them was, maybe about 60-something.
Okay, so some of those people, you said, have found permanent housing.
Yeah, a lot of them.
That's good news.
That was the immediate thing. I was getting a lot of reports of which ones were housed, and they're still there. Most in Escondido.
Okay. And
they had the voucher thing just go for years in Escondido.
When we last spoke, in our last interview, you talked about how many of those former homeless people have simply moved out to the south of the train tracks, and they sort of live in the woods outdoors out there, right?
Well, it's more going to be around near the Sprinter tracks, some of the forestry. They're kind of pushed into some of those areas, and it's heading east.
When we last spoke about some of these guys getting into trauma, and you used the phrase "pumpkin head," and that, I guess, that has to do with getting beaten up so bad that your head swells. Yeah,
that's a brutal term they use from street gangs about how people are hurt really bad. Yeah.
Yikes. And
it's horrifying what's going on out here.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to not scream about it.
But yet there are opportunities out there, and we're very interested in the live-in facility on Greenbrier. I think it's 3 stories. It's very interesting because I walked in front of it about a week ago, and there's no entryway. It's not welcoming. It's like
penitentiary.
Well, I don't want to go, but it's. And you had a story about a woman who lives there on the ground floor, and she had to put a sign up in her window that says, "Do not knock on my window," because people who wanted to get some kind of access or communicate with somebody on the inside would knock on her window because they had no other way to access. And
it's only the digital key door thing for the person that has their particular room, and there's no lobby, there's nothing to go into. It's just, and then you're just, there's not, it's interesting. It's just rooms with an exterior barrier, and then so there's no way to get in there to really, even if something is a situation. And so I did notice a problem from that. Yeah, was this person had put a sign on the bottom window by the door, right? Stop knocking on my window at 1 a.m.
Now,
and so this is apparently a problem with someone that was in there, someone trying to get in a hold of somebody in the middle of the night.
Okay, so who administers that, and who screens who gets to live there? How did you know?
Well, this is what's going on through housing and case management, and then there's a lot of these people. If you're taking them off the street and they're wanting to change their life, well, this is why they usually would change cities, because you're going to have these people, but they shouldn't have to change cities. That's removing people's choice of location. So then that has to be where somehow you're able to protect people from the life that would chase them, right? Because whatever you're leaving in the streets, usually, it's going to try to follow you if you're local, because you still know so-and-so that's doing this and, selling this or that. You know what I mean? So they're trying to get away from that. But it's the case management who decide these things. And then there's no really oversight, and I think that's why some of the ones I was supporting died there. because if you take somebody out of a situation where they're now alone and suddenly they have an episode or something, there's no one there to revive them. There's no one, and they end up dying.
You've known people who were in your camp who went there to live and they died there?
Some of them were not able to really get into the camp situation. But, there was some people that I was supporting that, you see, somehow they were able to survive for years, so many years, decades, even on the most severe conditions, horrendous conditions on substances that are deadly, and survive it. And suddenly when they're housed, they're dead.
Interesting.
Wow, because they're alone mainly. So this goes to also when they pushed out my camp. Let's say this one thing. That when they pushed us into that McAllister thing with the motel thing, that they, it was really solitary confinement, and there was nobody allowed to have guests or go to other people's rooms. That was the rules. There's even psychological things that were from the shutdown that were found when people are isolated. We get what's they called in the old days cabin fever. We get wacky-do. If you're pushed into a hole by yourself, you're a social creature.
Sure.
It's going to be just like a lion being in an exhibit. Pretty soon you ain't acting like a lion anymore, and you don't even know what that is. And
right.
It's just going in circles. They call stir crazy. That's
okay.
That's kind of what happens to people, and that's what they're doing to people. And so that's why it looks like that. That's what they're actually doing.
I would like to get more answers. I'm going to try to pursue that here.
We can pass on.
This is the Big Buccaneer channel. We're speaking with Rodney McGough. Rodney, you have a different look. I've always known you had that sort of a cowboy hat thing going, and now you've got this. It looks like a Middle Eastern, headdress thing, which is just, as you say, a rag with you tie it, and you said you wore it because you worked out in the fields in Valley Center.
When I was a part of the Yellow Deli cult, the 12 tribes, that's where we would be working like 110 degrees in severe heat and working very hard on the foot of a hill. And so we would just cut a T-shirt and tie it to your head and wet it, tie it to your head, and this is what has got me through the heat waves recently. But I noticed something changed when I started to just wear something to keep me alive.
Yes.
Trying to keep myself from overheating. People started giving me dirty looks, and I was getting all this cozy, kind of fluffy respect from people, that somehow I was so honorable with my cowboy hat. But now I got my Middle Eastern do-rag. And now they're giving me dirty looks, and they ain't so friendly to me anymore. And I noticed it became this kind of detector of fascists.
So it's a fascist detector.
It's a fascist detector, I found out, which I'd really like to know what's going on. You know how you don't really know what's going on with people, and that's part of the problem in society.
Right.
Everybody acts like they're all this and that, and like you're their friends, but they can really hate you. This is where it's really good to find something right now if anybody wants to know who the fascists are. Just put on a Middle Eastern do-rag and walk around.
Okay,
You'll find them out really quick. But you also find these friendly ones that look at me and they show me respect, They'll even bow their head and wave and smile and say hi or give me special respect because they probably know I'm probably a major reject of society.
Well, I don't know, but looking at that has a name, right?
It's called in the Middle East a barak.
Barak, okay.
Yeah, that's the Semite word for lightning, and the women's version is the baraka.
Okay, well,
if anybody wants to look.
Anyway, I applaud you for your Barak look.
Oh, my Barak look.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yes, and it's.
I never hear that, Ken. You're so not the fascist, right?
Well, see, then that's good. I don't know, but some people are afraid of clowns. With me, I tend to be more leery of cowboys. And, I don't know. There's a guy who used to work at this mobile station on Coast Highway here on Cassidy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. There's some scary people wearing cowboy hats. The mayor of Poway won't go anywhere. He's inside a building and he won't take his cowboy hat off. Wow. I don't know if he thinks it's going to imbue him with Ronald Reagan wonderfulness, but I don't know. It's scary.
There's something scary about it. And we got to realize really the first and modern terrorists were wearing cowboy hats, I think.
Well, I don't want to go.
Any of the Indians, if you ask any of the Indians, they probably scared of cowboy hats too, and cowboy hats scare people.
I'm halfway
They're
kidding,
scary
but-
people with cowboy hats.
So how much time do you spend in Oceanside versus Vista or wherever now?
More recently of the week, I would stay in Oceanside, or maybe like a couple weeks here, and then go to Vista for like a week or so, because they've been really pushing the homeless out there. So I can't support many people there in Vista.
All right. Well,
San
Rodney
Diego.
McGough, thank you for joining us again here on the Big Buccaneer Channel.
All right. Thank you for inviting me, Ken.
And now it's time for a segment of the Big Buccaneer Channel where we drill, baby, drill. We'll take a deep dive into Oceanside's deep, rich past. Welcome to the Big Buccaneer Channel's Deep Roots, Deep Dive.